Sometimes we get to ask ourselves, why are you carrying this yoke? It's not yours. You didn't cause it. That was one thing that my supervisor told me, and she was like, you didn't cause the problem of the world. So I don't think you want to solve the world's problem. So just pick something small, just something feasible, something we can do, and let's do it. Hello, everyone. Good morning, Kira. Thank you for joining me again. And before I start this episode, I really want to appreciate you guys. Thank you for all the likes, all the follows, all the connections. I'm grateful that some people are seeing what I'm doing. Some people are interested in what I'm doing. Thank you for all the likes, guys. Last week was amazing. I'm like, okay, this thing. I think this thing is going to get impactful someday. Some people are already reaching out with different questions, many questions, and I see that a lot of people are interested in the whole mental health talk that I did last week, and I'm grateful for the visibility. I'm grateful that you see these videos and you get to like them. I'm grateful for my subscribers. Yes, I see that they are growing, and I'm happy that you're here with me. Please, if there's any topic you want us to discuss, you want us to share, don't hesitate to maybe leave it in the comment section, or leave it, or come to my DM on IG, Rhoda 360 underscore pod, POD, and just leave it there, and we'll just chat and see how to make some videos or do a little talk about that. Thank you again. I appreciate. Please continue to follow, continue to turn on your notification. I'll be dropping episodes on a weekly basis, sometimes in series, and I hope my goal is to impact people. My goal is to help people elevate themselves mentally, physically, career-wise, especially people who are in academic research. Thanks for joining me. So, again, you know how we do in here. This is Tūhono Health. In this particular podcast, we connect culture, research, and real talk to improve well-being for everyone. It doesn't matter where you are. What we discuss here, the things that we discuss here can be made use of, or implied, or used in any part of the world. So today's episode is special. Last week I saw that there was a lot of comments, not just comments, but views and likes on the mental health video. So I decided to continue and turn it into a mini series. So I'm going to be posting about 3 videos on that aspect, and looking at boundaries, looking at culture, looking at how to use our mosquito spray on toxic people and toxic relationships. Right. So today's episode is about one tension that all of us must know well, especially if you're coming from some sort of dysfunction, or you're coming from some kind of family with a lot of pressure. You have friends, you have colleagues. So today we're discussing culture versus care. Culture versus care. How do we honor culture? How do we honor cultural values like family, like love, like relationships, like collective responsibility, without sacrificing our mental health? That's what I want us to discuss today. How do we do all this? Honor our cultures. Say you are from Africa, or you are from a place that it's community built. There are countries, there are parts of the world that we grew up in communities. We are, how do they call it now? We're a community. We know ourselves as a community. If you're so, from such a place where you are expected to be something because of the kind of community you come from. Yeah. So how do we do all this? Live in this collective responsibility, appreciate and work towards being a person with cultural values without sacrificing our mental health. Because the truth is, sometimes the very expectations that bind us together, right? The very expectations that bind us together, the very expectations that keep us together as family can also weigh us down, can also give us issues or present issues that we may not even be able to talk about. Why? Because this is family. Why? Because this is my community or this is my village, right? So let's unpack this, and I'll be giving different examples from different places. I'll be using cultures in New Zealand and cultures in Nigeria, yeah, together. So, for instance, in Maorian culture and the Pacifica cultures, Fanao, which is called family, which, yeah, Fanao means family. Family is everything, just like in most African and Asian countries. Family is everything. We we are taught to like put others first, show love, to never turn away when someone needs help, right? Whether it's going to drain us or not, right? That is how we grew up. That is what we are taught. In fact, in many African cultures, it's similar, right? Family is not just like immediate family or the nuclear family that they teach us, right? It's extended, sometimes entire villages. You have cousins of brothers and sisters, you know, who are who are somehow related to us, and somehow we are expected to show emotional connection, some form of financial responsibilities. And someone can just call you and say, okay, you have this problem, go and meet Rhoda because she is from your father's village, and or I am expected to relate and take care of that person because that person is from my father's village. Do you understand? So there's a saying in Nigeria that says, it takes a village to raise a child. It also means the village expects you to show up. The village expects you to show up. In as much as it takes a village to raise a child, they expect to show up financially, emotionally, physically, no matter what. And that's not a bad thing. That's what we should all aspire to do. That's all we should all aspire. That's the kind of, we should all aspire to be good humans, good to people, right? But then, can we do all this? Can we carry all this load, right, without without some negative impact on our mental health? Are we able to do this and still stay sane, and still stay happy, and still stay balanced mentally? Let me give you an example. I wrote down an example. A young African professional in Australia sends home money every month. This money is to support siblings, parents, their medications, family meetings, cousins, weddings, and things like that. And when this person hesitates to say, okay, I don't have this month, or I'm not able to provide this month, she's been called lots of names: selfish, forgetting her roots. You know, Many people will begin to accuse her of different things. She's forgetting who she is. She's forgetting who took care of her. I had an auntie who told me, or who told someone about me, that they used to wash my panties. They used to bath me and wash my panties when I was a baby. And now I don't want to relate with them. So people are people have so many reasons why they are entitled to your emotional, financial, psychological support, right? Even us, we sometimes we look at our siblings and say, this is my sibling, I'm entitled to maybe financial support, or I'm entitled to some form of psychological support. This person should support me. I used to be very angry or very upset with someone that when I was looking for admission, and I was chasing postgraduate studies abroad, I used to feel I looked up to I looked up to this person as more of a mentor than a family relation. So when probably I was feeling entitled because I felt, I'm seeing you like a mentor. You should relate to me like a mentee. But then this person wasn't seeing me that way. This person wasn't seeing me that way. So when it came to issues of CVs and statement of purpose, and all those postgraduate documentations that we need to prepare, and I reached out to them and I say, could you help me go through this? Could you help me? What do you think I should do to this? And they don't respond. you know at a point I got angry. I'm like, but this person is family. Aside being a family, this person is somebody I see as a mentor. This person is someone that is doing something that I like. It's not that I envied them, but then they were on a path that I appreciated. So I was looking forward maybe for some tips and some holding of hands and say, come, I'll show you. But then it wasn't that way, right? But then what I didn't think about was probably these people had their own issues they were dealing with. They had things to do with their time, things like that. Although I didn't call them names, but I felt entitled then maybe to their time, their emotional, their mental support to say, okay, yeah, you could write this on your CV or remove this or add this. I digress, right? The the expectation like we put on people sometimes become a source of stress, not just on people. It's either we put expectations on people or people expect us to be something to them. It causes stress, it causes anxiety. In fact, for someone like me, when I used to be in that space where if I knew that somebody expected something of me, I'll begin to have panic attacks, especially when I knew that I couldn't provide or I couldn't give anymore. Maybe I used to give before, and at that moment I didn't have anymore. I'll start having panic attacks, right? So it's a lot of stress coming from cultural expectation. It's not about what I'm saying today. It's not about rejecting culture. It's not about rejecting our roots. It's not about looking back and saying, this person or these people, I won't take care of them. Do you understand? It's about asking, how do I care for others without losing myself? How do I be this person without losing myself? In this podcast, we integrate culture to research and everyday life. I did a little research there and I saw that research actually shows that chronic stress, right? Chronic stress from overcommitment to things, to relationships, to environments can actually lead to burnout, to anxiety, even physical illnesses. Some of the physical illnesses, arthritis, ulcers, even cancers that people have today. In fact, cancer is even too far. The diabetic, the type 2 diabetes, the high blood pressure, the migraines that people have today, sometimes it's as a result of overcommitment to relationships, to lives, to um, yokes that are not ours. Sometimes you get to ask yourself, why are you carrying this yoke? It's not yours. You didn't cause it. When I started PhD, that was One thing that my supervisor told me, and she was like, "You didn't cause the problem of the world, so I don't think you want to solve the world's problem. So just pick something small, just something feasible, something we can do, and let's do it." Right? A 2023 study in New Zealand found that indigenous professionals, that is, professionals who are of indigenous Maori origin, Pacifica origin, now it also generalizes to Indian, Asian immigrants, Middle Eastern, African immigrants, things like that. These indigenous professionals often experience role overload. They are the providers in their home. They are sending to siblings and parents abroad. They are doing everything. They often role overload. They are working professionally at home. They are the providers. Now, balancing, and they are doing this, trying to balance cultural obligations with work demands. If you work in the West, you know how demanding work can be, either in healthcare, in finance, in marketing, wherever, you know how demanding work can be. Although they come up with work life balance, we have it's not really, is it really balanced? I think we should discuss this someday. Now, similarly, there's an African diasporan research that highlights the remittance pressure. They call it black tax, and a lot of people have spoken about black tax before. The emotional, the financial strain of constantly sending money home. It might not just be money, it could be the emotional support, the silent stressors, the everyday calling. This thing has happened, or this person has said this person, or this person is going through this. That constant need for you to always be there for something, or for you to always be there for someone. It's a silent stressor that affects mental health and relationships. Your once healthy self, or your once healthy relationship will just be drying out because you're stressed from role overload. You're stressed from trying to meet cultural obligations. Now, here's the kicker. When we ignore our own needs, right, we can't fully show up for others. We can't fully show up for people who really need our help. We can't, for instance, if you have kids, when you ignore your needs as a person, right? You ignore all these um, external pressures, you can't fully show up for your growing children. And these children will not understand that you are under some kind of stress, or you're under some kind of pressure to be something for some people outside there. They will not understand. They'll just, why is mommy behaving this way? Or why is daddy always snapping at us when he comes back from work? Do you, do you understand? So that's it. You can't fully show up for others, and not just children. What about relationships outside? There are people that want to make friends with you. There are people that want to talk with and to you. These people cannot reach you. These people cannot be friends with you. Why? Because you can't show up for them. You can't be there for them. You are under some form of siege, emotional and psychological siege, some form of yoke that is refusing to break for you to show up for the people that really need your time and effort. So that's what I'm saying. It's not about um ignoring people, or it's not about ignoring cultural values. It's it's about keeping us for ourselves and the people who really need us, if that makes sense. So protecting your peace is not selfish. It's not selfish, it's strategic. It's strategic. It's keeping yourself for yourself, right? And for the people that actually love you. We may then ask, where does cultural wisdom meet boundaries? Where do we now say, okay, I respect and I love my culture, but I need to set some form of boundaries to help me stay sane, to help me stay mentally and wholly healthy, right? For me to be able to continue to, give, for me to be able to give, whether financially, emotionally, or otherwise, right? There's in Maori, there's a word that translates as autonomy. I discussed it in the last video. It translates as autonomy, self-autonomy, self-determination, respect, self-respect. It translates as integrity, your prestige, right? So it's about standing in your power. It's about saying, okay, I'm putting myself first before any other thing. I'm putting myself first. I'm going to breathe in, I'm going to exhale. I'm going to exhale, right? So that I'll have the clarity to be able to meet the needs of people around me, to be able to meet the needs of the people in my life. Now, in Africa, the traditions are different, but then similar, right? In Africa, we have wisdom in balance. There's an African proverb, you know, that translates that you cannot pour water from an empty calabash. You know, in our ancestors used to drink water from calabashes, right? I think we still have places in Nigeria, yeah, where we still use calabash. In fact, yeah, for um for aesthetics and things like that. But you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot eat from an empty plate. You can't give, if someone walks into your house, you can't give the person food from your plate that is already empty. You can't give the person water from cup or a jug that is already empty. If you are drained, you can't give. That's what I'm trying to talk about. It's as simple as that. If you don't set boundaries, you won't be able to give. You won't be able to give all those things they're expecting you to be. You won't be able to be those things to them. So, setting boundaries can be an act of love, it can be an act of community, right? It's saying, I value this relationship enough to protect it from resentment. Say you used to maybe be friends with somebody, or used to talk with somebody, or you used to always be there for somebody. It may not even be financially. You may just be, that person, that this person will call when she needed to talk, right? When she just needed to rant, she just call, right? But then things begin to happen, and then you begin to see that this person is maybe gossiping with you with another person, is taking these issues that you're discussing to other people, right? You want to set boundaries, you want to protect yourself, so you will not keep giving. So you not keep giving your information to this person. But then, in as much as you want to set boundaries, you like this person, you love this person, you love what you had with this person. So you just withdraw. You just withdraw. Sometimes you withdraw with communication. You say, okay, this is it. I'm going to set boundaries. I might not be coming to you anymore, or you and I might not be talking again, things like that. I value our relationship so much, I'm going to protect it from resentment. Again, to avoid any dialogue, or to avoid any form of backlash, right? Sometimes you withdraw without saying anything. And that's the part I like. That's the option I like. I just take off without saying anything, at least for a while, right? It's because when I do that with people, it's because, look, I like you, or I value what we had so much that I don't I don't want us to live in resentment. I don't want to resent you. I don't want to regret ever having you in my life. So I'm just going to cut off, gently withdraw, without drama. Excuse me. So there are other examples of people, like I know of an undergraduate student that constantly attend family events, constantly, even during exams. Parents are religious people. She has to be there. She has to be in the prayer group meetings and everything. She's always stressed, always failing her papers. And then when she fails those papers, you know what they say? Um, it's spiritual. It's some cultural thing. The people around her do not want her to succeed. But then you guys are always pulling this girl to to events and family functions and all manner of spiritual events, even during exam sessions, even during her midterm um, 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 continuous assessment test and everything. Finally, she spoke. She said, I love you, but I need this time to study. The first time she said it, they didn't understand. There was a lot of backlash. There was a lot of the devil is imposing things on your head. The devil is saying things to you, and things like that. But later on, her parents understood, and they allowed her to do whatever. If at the end of that semester, she made all her papers. She didn't get the A+ grade, but she did better than failing. Right? She passed her exams, and the relationship with her parents has continued to work stronger. Sometimes you have to talk, and you just set those boundaries, right? Sometimes just disappear, not because you hate them, but because you have to take care of yourself. So now consider another one. This person now is a father, right? In his 50s. He tells his family, look, I will help when I can help, but I cannot meet every request. This one that everyone wakes up in the morning is requesting something from me. I can't. It's hard. I can only do what I can do. If you need to cut your hair today, probably I can assist you with that. But if you need to buy a laptop, probably it have to wait. That will have to wait for till the end of the month, another 2 months. You know, you begin to speak up. You speak up with love, but then you speak your truth, right? It's hard. This thing we're talking about is hard, especially if you are the kind of person that is always expected to continue giving. You are the kind of person that is always expected to, continue being there. People already, like I said last week, people has in their heads, they already have this version of you who is always to listen, who is always to be on their side, who is always to um um give financially, emotionally, psychologically. That person who is always there, they already have the version of you on their heads like that. So the day you begin to withdraw and say, this thing, I don't think I can do it anymore, there's a lot of backlash. Some people can go as far as tearing you down, spoiling your image, smear campaigns, raising smear campaigns against you from fellow family members. It's okay sometimes. It's okay. Let people talk. Let people talk. Right? Now, because if you don't do it like that, you all know that it's hard. Right? It's hard. But then setting such boundaries prevents financial collapse, especially for family, people with family, growing children. They are going to school, secondary school, universities, even primary schools. It prevents family conflict. When people know that you can't do it anymore, right? Say you used to give $1,000 per month. When people know that you cannot give more than 300 per month, they begin to adjust. It's better, it's better than pushing yourself to the point of collapse, because when you collapse, they move on and you'll be shocked. You and your family, you and your family or very, very close friends will be shocked at the speed at which people will move on if anything happens to you as a result of stress. Boundaries don't break culture at all. It doesn't. Culture has been set, right? It doesn't break culture. Instead, boundaries set, it strengthens culture. So how do we navigate all this now? I've discussed in the past 30 minutes. I didn't know I could talk so much, right? How do we um, navigate this? I have noted down 3 steps, but please, in the comment section, you can just, add more steps or more points um, to help other people, right? This community, this podcasting thing I started, it's not because I want to show my face or I wanted people to hear my voice, which that's important also, but it's because um, I wanted to people to feel empowered in different aspects of their lives, in different aspects of their careers. So first of all, name the pressure. What is the pressure? What's that thing? What's that stressor? What's that thing causing stress for you? Is this expectation helping? Right? Is it this expectation people expect this thing people expect you to be to them? Is it helping you or is it harming your well-being? When you sleep well at night. Are you okay with what you're doing? Name the pressure, then you communicate it. Communicate it with love and respect. After all, that is how we grew up. That is who we grew up to be, right? We were taught to communicate with respect. In fact, in some African communities or even back home in Nigeria, I couldn't talk looking at an elder in the eyes. I don't know if that thing is respect or fear. We're taught to communicate with fear if we're even taught to communicate at all. So when you communicate with respect, when you communicate with love, use the I, right? Use I statements. Let them know that it's you. Yeah. You are going to set boundaries. You're communicating your emotions and your feelings, but it's you. Don't make it a third person. Don't make it a second or third person. The economy is bad, therefore I think, therefore you this. No, I I need to rest so I can support you later. I need to gather, right? So I can give. I need strength, right? So I can help you, so I can support you. Again, even if it's not even giving, you can offer alternatives, right? If you cannot attend that event, suggest another way to contribute. You can say there's a wedding going on or some form of occasion going on in the family, and you cannot attend the event. Suggest preparing food and sending, there. Suggest future visits, or even you can't make it at all. The worst they can do is talk behind you, and it's okay. Always offer alternatives. For instance, if you as an African immigrant or somewhere abroad, you cannot send money home, offer advice, offer job links, offer immigration pathway links, right? Offer emotional support. Offer to say, okay, I'm here on a student visa. Do you think you can come here on a student visa? This is how to apply for admission where I am. This is what I do. Or I'm here on a work visa, but I do cleaning services. Would you want to clean? I tell you, most of the people that collect money from you will not want to clean or do gardening, but they collect the money that you use in cleaning and gardening services and aged care, residential, working in aged care facilities and washing toilets. They are happy to collect that money. But invite them to just those things, they'll run. Sometimes give them job links. In closing, let me just close it here. Now, culture is important, dear friends. Don't get me wrong. Culture, very important. But then so is your well-being. As much as we value, we respect where we're coming from, our well-being is also very important. Anything happens to you, you drop down today, these people will move on. These people will move on. This family, this community, these people that we've been trained to be there for, if anything happens to you because of the chronic stress that they've put you through, because you are obligated to respect some cultural values, anything happen, they'll move on with their lives. So When expectations hurt, right? When expectations hurt, it's okay for you to pause and say, okay, no. It's okay for you to say no. It's okay for you to choose your self-respect, yourself, your self-autonomy, your, protect your protect your being, protect your humanness, if there's a word like that. Because when you care for others, you care for your people. When you care for others, you care for your people. When you care for yourself, you care for the people that really need your help. I'm going to close here. I'd love to hear your thoughts and any of your proverbs or your sayings that speak to this balance. And I'm going to leave questions here. Have you ever felt torn between cultural expectations and self-care? How do you navigate it? How do you navigate, being between cultural expectations and self-care? Self-care, in this case, your mental health, that depression, that anxiety, that mood swings you get because you are culturally obligated to something or someone or some people. How do you navigate it? Please send me your stories or your thoughts or your comments on Instagram. Yeah, Rhoda360_pod, POD. And then we'll take it from there. We may even feature your stories or feature your topics. We'll not call your names. We respect privacy here and in future episodes. Until next time, stay strong, stay brave, stay winning. And this has been Tūhono Health. Cheers. Bye.